We're exploring, you and me, a total ban for social media for children under 16 that at the beginning of the week didn't seem very likely in the UK, now seems increasingly likely, as they have done in Australia last year. 9 platforms are banned in Australia. Let's speak now to Andrew Grill, who we've spoken to a lot over the last year or so. Andrew, good morning. You're in Australia right now, in Queensland, an expert in AI and tech. How's the ban working there?
Well, it's interesting. It's only been in effect since mid-December last year, so it's the first month. I'm seeing a lot of coverage here in the media about it. More than 1 million accounts have been banned. So it's too early to tell what the impact has been, but it's in place and people now have to age verify. There's talk about kids getting around it, but I think in the next 6 months, we'll see if it has any real effect.
Because I suppose you could say when this came in, I mean, they talked about it in the summer. It came into being in December. It's TikTok, Snapchat, X, YouTube, Reddit, Threads, Kick, Twitch, all blocked to children. WhatsApp and YouTube Kids are exempt, but there are obviously other platforms as well. The concern was that kids would find a way around it. VPNs, so they can not be in Australia, digitally as it were. And of course, that it may push children to other platforms, which are even worse.
Yeah, that's the thing, and kids are quite resourceful. But listening to some of your callers this morning talking about how they're dealing with social media at that young age, let's just take tech out of it. Way back when I joined Twitter in about 2007, we never really thought social media would have the impact it's had on society and potentially on mental health. So, just because we can doesn't mean that we should. And so all these new things coming in, we're going to see in London, Waymo driverless cars this year. I think we have to think very carefully about any new technology, and we'll get on to Grok and AI, but what's the impact? Have we really looked at the impact? So a ban is one way of dealing with it, but do we need to look at how society treats new technology?
This is the world that we live in. So stopping somebody who's 15 and 360 days, but when they're 16 saying, knock yourself out, go online. I mean, that's just for the birds, isn't it?
Well, it's an interesting way of looking at it. So I'm hearing a lot of young people are saying they're not using AI because they've been told it's cheating. And what happens is when they graduate, they get into the big bad world, they haven't got the skills, the expression to behave like adults expect us to. So by banning it, it might mean that they're not able to express themselves. I mean, social media is here to stay. It allows you and I to broadcast to an interested audience. And maybe that will actually change expression. Other callers might say it might actually allow kids to go back and do what we used to do before social media.
You mentioned it a little bit earlier, that Grok, the AI platform on X that was allowing people to take part in the put her in a bikini thing that really didn't exist in November of last year and has now got to the point where even Elon Musk seems to have gone quiet on this and accepted the fact that if it's illegal, he's not going to allow it to be used. If it's not illegal, he will. Do you think we're going to look at this as the tipping point for all this?
Yeah, because now AI and other tools can do almost anything, and they can do things that we could never imagine. The fact that you could disrobe someone without their permission, you're right, didn't really exist last year. And I think the tech companies need to look at themselves to say, do we want society to go down this way? Why are we developing technology that actually unbundles whole societies and the way we act towards each other?
How can technology get to a point where you could put a photograph in of somebody, anybody at all, and that technology allows you to make them nude? Why didn't someone go, the tech bros in California wearing their flip-flops and slightly grubby T-shirts, why don't they go, right, okay, we can do all this sort of stuff, but that's a no-no? How has that been allowed to happen?
Unintended consequences. Interesting, when ChatGPT was released 3 years ago, what OpenAI did is they tried to break it. They hired 40 people who were looking at the different spectrum of, religious views, tried to really see what a human can do to it. So they at least tried to see what the extremes were. But humans, when they get new technology, they'll try and break it. So I think we need the ability to stop, reflect, and go back to my earlier point, just because we can doesn't mean that we should.
And great to have you back on the programme. Andrew Grill there, AI expert, currently in Australia. Many thanks.